right, today we're gonna make a clay crocodile. All right, so first you're gonna start out with a chunk of clay and we're gonna tear it in half. And my goal is to make a long coil for the body. So I'm gonna take my clay, smush it into a ball, roll it between my hands, keeping my fingers straight, going in circular motions, maybe even doing it on the table, and then begin rolling it back and forth to form a coil. And if it starts to flatten out, go ahead and pick it up and squish and squeeze it, making it a little longer and rounder, and then continue rolling it back and forth. Now it's as big as your hand. Your goal is to have it a little longer than your hand, and only rolling the thicker parts. Okay, we have a nice, thick, even coil. So now I need to decide where the the mouth and the tail is. So I'm gonna decide the tail's over here, pinching and pushing into a point. And then on the opposite end, I'm going to press down, flattening out the snout a little bit, and then grabbing any clay knife. I'm gonna use a popsicle stick. I'm gonna find the center line to make sure my mouth doesn't rip off. And I'm gonna saw back and forth, trying to stay in the middle and make my mouth as long as I want. And then I can use my fingers to squeeze. And now I've got my mouth and my tail. So we're gonna add texture to the body before we add our legs. So I'm gonna use my pinchers and I'm gonna pinch the top of the body to create scales. And I'm moving all the way from the bottom to the top. And now I've got my scales, and it's ready to make the legs. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4 coils. So I'll just go ahead and tear a large chunk. Oops, got my toothpick in there. And I'm gonna again roll a coil. So, I formed it into a ball, and I'm gonna roll it up and down. When it flattens out, I'm gonna pick it up and squish it in my hand. I can roll it between my hands, keeping my fingers together, rolling it on the table. And I do want to keep it thick because this is going to hold up my body. So I need it to have enough weight and strength to hold up that big body. And let's start there. We can always add more clay. And in order to measure, remember crocodiles and alligators have short legs. So I'm just gonna take the end of the coil and decide how I want my arm to look. So I'm gonna curve it and bend it, almost like a backwards 2, and then pinch it off. And now that I've got it, I'm gonna straighten it out and then cut 4 of these. So I need more clay. Rolling my coil, and I'll cut what I need. And now it's time to form the legs. And I'm just redoing this one because it got a little mushed. Okay, so again, curving, and I'll pinch the base. I can always tear off excess. And curving, pinching the base. And this is too long, so I'm just gonna pinch that off. And I'm gonna repeat until I have my backwards 2s just the way I want them, all the same height. And now it's time to attach. So I'm gonna use a toothpick or any other carving tool to score or add texture to create teeth to hold that clay together. And I'm gonna do that for all the legs, but I'm just gonna show you one, and then we'll speed up the process. I'm gonna add some slip here, like our glue, our clay glue, and then I'm gonna use my clay knife to push a piece of the arm onto the body, making it look like it was always one piece. And I'm gonna repeat that for all 4 legs. So now I've scored and slipped all 4 legs, and I'm ready to add the eyes and then decide how I want my crocodile to dry. Do I want the tail up, curled? Do I want my mouth open? So let's start out with the eyes. I'm gonna take a small piece of clay, and depending on how big or small your crocodile is, roll 2 small clay balls for the eyes. I'm gonna again score and slip, so creating those texture lines on everything that's gonna be attached, putting slip, and then pressing and smoothing out an edge to attach. All right, now I think I'm gonna have my tail curl up, so I'm going to gently push and pull. I want my mouth open, pinching and pulling that in place. And then adding my last detail, the pupils of the eyes. All right, your turn to create a clay crocodile.